That was Marry Me a Little.
Seriously though, on the whole, how great has this show been?
Probably one of the best they've ever had.
Any idea why that might be? If you had to point to one factor.
Let me see, we've always had talented people doing shows, but what's different this year? What has changed?
Oh, you remember when they talked about how much the last 2 years MCs were awful?
Oh, I think that's it.
Some rumor about like inebriation or just ugly, ugly stuff.
And now they have us here.
Yeah, I mean...
And it's been wonderful.
Yeah,
people are laughing,
exactly.
enjoying the show.
Give it up for the new MCs, everyone. They did a great job this year.
Jack and Tim, your final exam for your training as Night Out MCs is to introduce us for Med Center Update. Are you prepared?
This is Pat.
And Matt, and this is Med Center Update.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Med Center Update 2012. My name's Pat.
And I'm Matt. A preview of tonight's broadcast. Ohio State Medical Center changes its name.
The FDA changes its food pyramid.
And Dr. Lin goes to the Final Four.
First, tonight's big story. As many of you already know, the OSU Medical Center is now the Wexner Medical Center at The Ohio State University, in honor of benefactor and Ohio State grad, Les Wexner.
Which brings us to our next segment. Really? With Matt and Pat.
Really, OSU? We're now the Wexner Medical Center? Just like that?
Really? Where will it end? Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer in the hospital?
Scrubs? From Victoria's Secret?
Really? It's the operating room, not Abercrombie and Stitch.
I mean, really? Just how many buildings on campus are going to be called the Wexner Center?
The Wexner Center is already a museum and performing arts center. People are going to get mixed up.
Yeah, do we really need more actors clogging up the emergency room?
Honestly, is this a Jackson Pollock or a trauma scene?
And what about the old DNA Man logo? Really?
A new logo already? The DNA Man was pretty short-lived.
Watson and Crick are probably rolling in their graves.
And what about all the little signs at the medical center with the old DNA Man logo on them? And have you seen the Eye and Ear Institute? You cannot undo that glass!
And what are we supposed to do with our white coats that all have the old logo on them?
They're outdated now.
You don't see us living in the past, walking around the hospital with afros like it's 1970, do you?
Our next top story tonight. The United States Food and Drug Administration recently eliminated its famous food pyramid in favor of a food plate.
This prompted the College of Medicine to undertake an investigation into where its students are getting their daily nutrition. The results are broken up by class.
Let's start with a typical Med 1 diet. For breakfast, cereal with milk. And for lunch,
Adriaticos from an interest group meeting. For dinner, Jimmy John's from a different interest group meeting.
And what about the Med 2s? For breakfast?
Last time the Med 2s were up early enough for breakfast, they were Med 1s.
And what do Med 2s eat for lunch?
There's leftover pizza in the canteen! And for dinner, Jimmy John's from an interest group meeting, in which they have no interest.
Okay. So what do the Med 3s eat for breakfast?
Eat? Coffee.
What about lunch?
Coffee, if there's time. And for dinner?
A 6,000 calorie meal for Wendy's.
And what about the Med 4s? Well, for breakfast,
2 biscuits, 3 pancakes, and 8 strips of bacon. And for lunch?
a burger and fries at the turn on OSU's golf course. And finally, for dinner,
another 6,000 calorie meal from Wendy's.
After investigating the different dietary habits of the classes, the College of Medicine decided to follow up with a survey to see how else the classes differ. The first question, where do you study? The Med 1 said,
I do my best work for nearly 2 hours every day and prior. It's hard to study so much, but after all, I'm not an undergrad anymore.
The Med 2 said,
I podcast those lectures from my bed. At 1.5 speed, it's the perfect amount of time between naps.
The Med 3's reported,
I had a chance to read a great clinical journal article the other day in the terrified few seconds before I got pimped on rounds.
And finally the Med 4's,
I haven't studied since Med 3. And after match week celebrations, I'm not even sure I can read anymore. Question 2. Where do you exercise? The Med 1s said,
the Myling Gym. It's a great place to get a quick workout in after class in the morning.
And the Med 2s?
I like the RPAC. Makes me feel like I'm still in college.
And the Med 3 said,
I do calf raises in the operating room.
And finally, the Med 4s.
I exercise exactly as often as I study.
Lastly, where do you fill your necessary prescriptions? The Med 1 said,
At my doctor back home. I love going to see my parents.
And the Med 2s?
At the Student Health Center. I stay friendly with the staff so they'll continue to read my TB test as negative.
The Med 3s reported,
Nowhere. According to my chief resident, med students don't get sick.
And finally, the Med 4s chimed in.
I get tons of free samples from all the drug reps in my ambulatory rotation, but if you tell Dr. Clinshot, I'll deny it aggressively. Our saddest story tonight. Our beloved financial aid man Sam Matheny is leaving Ohio State.
Sam entered our hearts and our email inboxes with his pioneering work on Marketplace, an online forum for students to sell books, furniture, and other goods to fellow students.
Sam did an impressive job virtually eliminating the number of emails from students to the entire student body. These are represented in blue on our graph.
Represented in red on our graph is the number of emails that Sam Matheny sent to the entire student body about Marketplace, specific items on Marketplace, and endless financial aid presentations.
Thank you, Sam, for your dedication to keeping our inboxes clear. Good luck in Philadelphia.
Seriously, you're gonna miss that guy, he's a good guy. And our last story tonight. We'd like to welcome our new dean, Dr. Charles Lockwood.
A renowned physician practicing OB/GYN, we're happy to welcome Dean Lockwood to the Ohio State family.
As many of you know, Dr. Stephen Gabby, the CEO of the medical center, is also an OB/GYN.
This, of course, proves that obstetricians will take absolutely any position if it means they can stop practicing obstetrics.
And this concludes Med Center Update for this year.
Oh, one more thing. Did you guys know there's going to be a group playing basketball at the RPAC 4 p.m. tomorrow?
Yeah, we won't be there either.